Live from Sundance.
Killer Hope.
I'm Ted Hope.
Christine Vachon.
And we are here with Borderline Films. 3 directors, 3 producers, 3 screenwriters. Sean Durkin, the director of Martha, Marcy, May, Marlene. Antonio Campos, producer. Josh Mond, producer. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
So we have like the great good fortune to just grab you guys right after your movie just premiered. So we have to ask you, how did it feel? How did it go? What was it like?
It went great, I think. I'm still trying to process, but it's a hell of an experience.
Were you nervous, Sean?
I was nervous.
I'm still nervous.
I'm still
that is
nervous.
the first thing that Sean said at the screening. Or no, you said, I'm not nervous at all, actually.
It was only in the biggest theater here, the Eccles.
Yeah.
And it was packed.
It was great. I mean, I felt like this was one of the best screenings that, I've been to in terms of just the reaction. There's always that thing when you make a drama, I think that it's always harder to gauge what the audience is feeling because you don't have laughter to sort of use as a barometer. And in this, we did get like the gasps and the and the moments of laughter, sort of the moments of levity that really worked. And then at the end, when the silence hit, you really felt it. And I think that overall, it felt like a really great screening. And people verbally vocalized that. So.
Now you were here last year with a short film, Mary Last Scene.
Yep. Mary Last Scene was a short that we made. We'd been working on the script of Martha and trying to get it going last year, and it just timing wasn't right, and I hadn't directed anything in a long time. So the film is about what happens to this girl after she leaves the cult, and I wanted to do something based on all this research I'd done about how someone gets involved in a cult. So we had $400 left on one of our credit cards, and we got 3 or 4 people together and drove upstate and made the film.
I love the story though, because people always feel like it's so hard to make everything happen, so hard to get your film discovered. You made this short for $400. You brought it to Sundance. Somebody was on the short film jury and forgot to give it the prize, but we know that it deserved it, right? Because what happened after Sundance? It played at
I went to Director's Fortnight.
At Cannes.
Yeah, I can.
Isn't it great that we're all so different?
Where it won the prize. Yeah.
And
that
you also
trumps the Sundance prize.
And you brought it also
New
to
York Film Festival in AFI, but at Cannes, when he won, he got on stage and the first words of his mouth were like, "Thank God, because we had no idea of how we were going to pay our rent. Thank you for paying our rent."
I don't think jokes about money are funny to the
Yeah,
French.
the French didn't find it
They don't find anything funny.
I think you can joke about that here. It was the truth, actually.
So you guys have been working together for a long time, like 30 years, right?
Yeah, 35, yeah.
Feels like out of the womb.
So tell us about it, because it's a really unusual, arrangement and situation. And
Who wants to start?
All right.
Go on, Josh.
I'm the one who pitches it. We're 3 directors, producers, and we basically do short form work to try and pay our bills and to experiment in. And while one of us directs and writes the short form, the other one is writing their
What
script.
do you mean short form?
Like commercials and music videos and branded entertainment. We did like Bloomingdale's and Foot Locker and a lot of stuff for Atlantic Records. So a lot of the time for the music videos I direct, and Tony will produce while Sean's writing, or vice versa. So he can sit at home for 7 months and write his script. And
He took that long.
yeah. No, but I'm saying, and Tony going away to Paris and like us having like to write, or like when he was in the residency program, we needed some way to sustain ourselves, and we split everything 3 ways, and we used the short form work to experiment and to make money. And it's a great challenge because a lot of times the material you're given or the product of the music is bad. And so you have to find a way to make that good.
But the story goes back before that.
Yeah.
You didn't just run into each other and say like, let's form a
start
company.
a business arrangement.
We met at NYU.
Josh and I met the first day of Sight and Sound film at NYU. We both transferred in as, I think, sophomores, sort of. I don't know.
It's so funny. I met my long-term business partner on the first day of transferring into NYU undergrad.
Yeah, so we started right away. We were in the same sight and sound group, and we were both from New York, and just started making films together and had the same goal. Like we both said from the beginning that we wanted to meet people at NYU to work with and form a company. And
but you must have had a bigger bond than that, like.
That was the first thing, and then they knew each other from high school, and Josh had a. Do we want to go down this road?
No, I don't think so.
You had a girl. You all were in love with the same woman.
And you all decided to grow beards.
Yeah,
I couldn't.
Yeah, we were younger and more clean shaven.
We tried. Basically, this is where it starts. Is we tried to make a feature at second year. We were 20 years old. We tried to make a feature at NYU in our sophomore year.
Last year?
Yes, last year. And then we thought we had the money, everything was going to go. We really didn't know what we were doing.
We knew what we were doing.
I mean, we didn't know what we were doing.
We did a good job.
We did a good job.
We did a
We
good
didn't
job.
really know. Like,
In hindsight, we didn't know what we were doing.
It was fully cast.
We weren't
It was
dealing with all.
done. I mean, we had the cast. We had Jonah Hill. It would have been Jonah Hill's first film.
Awesome.
It would have been Douglas Smith's first film. Douglas Smith is on Big Love.
Would have been.
Would have been.
Right.
Could have.
Would have been.
And so we had this whole cast. We had everything set. All the locations were set. Josh had done all this work, and
We had all the
Who
locations.
was going to direct?
I was going to direct. Josh had brought a script to me, and we rewrote it.
And that was
then-
because Orson Welles did Citizen Kane when he was 21, so you had to do
I
it,
had to do it.
when you were 20.
Yeah.
Anyway, the people that said they had the money didn't have the money, and we only found
Lying.
out.
That
2 weeks.
never happens to us.
Well, that was our first experience, and
Yeah,
we got to
and
we
then
got to
we thought
read
we were never
bullshit
gonna
really
do it,
quickly.
yeah.
So it fell apart, and then we had the total opposite reaction, which was Antonio Made By It Now, which was also when we started making shorts for no money. I mean, we spent maybe $1,000 on them, maybe, and then and that went to Cannes the following year and won the Cine Foundation. And then we did the same thing with his next short, Last 15.
We went to he went to the Cannes residency program, where he tried out twice. The first time we got rejected, and the second time we did a mock interview in New York. Like we pretended we were the French guys interviewing him, and he nailed it, and he was there. And while he was there, he was editing the short film that we shot for like $1,200, and then that got into official competition. And then right after that, we started shooting after school. In 2007, August 24th.
And then after school ended, and then Sean went straight into doing Martha, writing Martha, and then Martha got into the lab. Mary got finished and got into this festival. So I mean, the way that it's worked has always been like we kind of everybody is just sort of working together and also building on each other's work in a really beautiful way, and forming this sort of. We never sort of sat down and said, this is the way that it's all going to work. We just sort of figured out, well, this is the way it works for us.
So it's more organic.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you guys are 30 years old or so.
27.
29.
Right,
No,
okay.
30.
I just
Don't
want to
push
feel
it,
a
Ted.
little closer to infinity. So you guys are like 27 or 28, 29. You've made a couple of features, a bunch of shorts. You're here at Sundance with a film that just went over like gangbusters. When you look forward to the future, what do you hope for? What's it looking
To
like?
pay our rent consistently.
Selling out.
We're hoping to sell out and make a lot of money. No, but I think we just want to keep doing. I mean, we want to keep doing what we want to keep doing what we're doing, and we want to expand in the sense of having more security and being able to make slightly bigger films, or not even necessarily. You know, we could. I mean,
Now, all of your stories have had a little bit of a transgressive element to it, perhaps, of some sort, or like, are you trying to, shock people? Are you trying to get under their skin?
I never think like that. I really think about the character and just starting with something and fully following it, and just wherever that character goes or wherever that storyline goes, and just thinking about it that way. All the other stuff, I think, just comes of that. I think I'm drawn to darker films, but I don't think we ever intentionally say, oh, we want this to be shocking.
I do that.
The shocking thing is always, I think that when you intentionally try and be shocking, it can bite you in the ass.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think that if you just sort of, like Sean said, that if it's coming from an organic place and from the character, and also, I mean, I think that inherently, we haven't psychoanalyzed ourselves or each other, but I think that for some reason we are naturally drawn to kind of darker material, but we always, in some, whenever we can, we try to find the humor in it, and but yeah, I mean, it's just, I think it's always if you just follow your gut and you start making the films that you want to make, and certain things come out, then you just kind of try to embrace it and go with it, and then eventually, maybe at another point, I would love to make a comedy, and we'll see how that pans out.
Right.
I mean, I think I saw the Terrys the other day, the Tim and Eric short film, and I think that was one of the most inspiring short films I've seen. It's one of the most twisted,
Absolutely.
funniest things I've seen in a long time, and it really inspired me. It made me think that comedy is, the idea of comedy can be so many different things.
One of the things the show is about social media and its effect on the stories that we tell, the way we're telling them, how we're getting them out to our audiences. And so I just have to ask you guys, like, how are you using tools like Twitter or Facebook or whatever you're using to find your audience, to aggregate your audience, to get the word out about the work you do?
To be honest, we're pretty bad at it. We
Do
try.
you feel guilty?
No,
We need your help, Ted.
we need help, Ted. No, I don't know. I feel like we just haven't. I mean, we try a little bit with Facebook and Twitter, but I feel like we're so focused on just creating the material that we haven't quite gone to that side.
Yeah, we definitely don't. I mean, we always, like, we sit down, we have these meetings, we're like, this is what we should do, we have these big ideas, how are we gonna do it? And
So I'm gonna work on the script now.
Sean does a pretty good job for a while of doing the Twitter account, and then like
I don't Twitter.
and then I don't follow up on the Twitter, and then Josh, and so then
I just don't like on a personal level, like, being able to be accessed or like where people know who you are freaks me out. It's like, if people like the movie, they can tweet about it. They can, and if it's seen at Sundance, and they can put it on their Facebook. I find it to be it's my opinion.
no,
Yeah.
absolutely, but
I find it
think
to
it's
be a
true,
little-
but I think
Sorry,
it's not
I know you
totally
like that. I don't.
Well, do you feel that in terms of culture and storytelling where we are now, that there's a room for a more participatory form?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that there is, but again, I think that it's all got to come from an organic place, and if the story kind of lends itself to that, like one of the short films yesterday was an animated short called The External World, and it was a series of sort of vignettes or like segments of vignettes about this universe this guy created, and I totally saw that if you were going to go down the social media path or transmedia path, that it would lend itself to that because the stories, they're so varied and there's so many different parts of the world that you can get into, that it would be a perfect.
So it's appropriate.
Yeah, and I think that, but then sometimes I think that it could become problematic because the participation could somehow taint whatever it was that the artist originally intended. So it's tricky. I don't necessarily know
Unless
how
it
to
just
go
becomes it's a whole new thing
Yeah.
unto itself.
Yeah, exactly. Which is exciting, but I think
Right.
it's got to be the right thing.